So, with another crazy day in artificial intelligence news, let's not waste any time and dive into what makes today such an incredible. So, one of the first things that I did actually want to bring to your attention, because I think whilst AI developments are good, I think this one is going to be most useful in terms of the kind of information that you guys need, because you need to be paying attention to what's going on with the economy and the second order effects, of course, of the AI development that is going on. So, if you aren't familiar with what's going on here, this basically company says its AI assistant is doing the work of 700 people after putting the brakes on hiring. So essentially, what they've done is they've hired an AI assistant and it's doing the work, the equivalent work of 700 people. And it says this assistant was on par with human agents for customer satisfaction. And of course, not everyone's impressed, but the AI assistant is another sign for the company's enthusiasm for AI. Now, I don't want to be someone that's just, constantly, getting on my soapbox and just talking about how, AI is going to take your jobs. But I think it's important to recognize this. And there is also something very, very interesting happening that I did predict a couple months ago. And I think it's important to also take a look at this as well, because whilst AI development is going faster and people are going to be losing their jobs, there's another side that kind of says that, wait, this might not happen. So here's a tweet from the actual CEO, and he says, this is a breakthrough in the practical application in AI. Its AI system powered by OpenAI has in its first 4 weeks handled 2.3 million customer service chats, and the insights are staggering. It handles 2/3 of our customer service inquiries, on par with humans in customer satisfaction, higher accuracy leading to a 25% reduction in repeat inquiries, lives 24/7 in over 23 markets, communicating in over 35 languages, and of course, the full role of 700 full-time agents is pretty crazy. Now, one thing that I want to actually talk about was, like I said, was the opposite trend. So this is TikTok, okay? It's just a popular social media app. I'm sure most of you know what this is, but take a look at this, okay? So ITV News, which is a popular British media outlet, they actually did a story on this, okay? And they talked about how, Klarna actually did their AI chatbot and they're talking about it. But what's crazy about that was the human response. And this is why I'm stating that there is a kind of different consciousness that is currently going on in the standard public when it comes to AI discourse. And I think that we're moving to an area where more and more we're going to see people hating this AI technology, and I can completely understand why. You can see here by the top comment on this video is that, so boycott Klarna, I got it, okay? And of course, the second comment is boycott this company, noted, okay? You can see that right now there is a discourse going on amongst the average person who doesn't pay that much attention to AI, that when this technology is advancing, any company that seemingly adopts it is going to be boycotted and their brand perception is going to take a complete nosedive. And that is something that people aren't taking into account, because whilst, yes, they're going to be making the company more profitable for 700 full-time agents, I don't know how much that's going to cost. It's definitely going to cost a lot. But the point is that their brand reputation is going down the drain. And you can see this tweet here says, now show me their brand perception score in 1 year. That's what is really interesting. What do you guys think about this, okay? Do you think that in the future we are going to see one type of company that employs humans, focuses on humanness, and then they have a really good brand perception score, and because of that, people actually want to shop there, they want to use their products because they know they're actually benefiting the economy and society? Or are we just going to see completely, fully autonomous companies where people don't really care? I think it will be interesting to see how this changes, but like I said before, more and more, as time goes on, we are seeing more and more AI hate. And I can completely understand if you're someone that works in an industry and an AI tool is made and, some company starts using it to stop hiring people that you previously would have worked at, I can completely understand why people are starting to hate this stuff. So let me know where you stand on this, because that is rather important. Then, of course, a quick brief story. We had OpenAI sued for kickstarting the robot apocalypse, and it says a Florida woman filed a lawsuit against OpenAI in California court on Tuesday, calling for a shutdown on an AI development by the company because of a variety of threats like the development of slaughter bots, autonomous military agents devoted to destroying humans, massive privacy violations, and the threat of widespread fake adult-rated content, amongst a host of other issues. Now, this suit is pretty intense, and I think that in future, maybe OpenAI is going to be bowled under a mountain of lawsuits, because essentially they are facing criticism after the recent Sora technology video demo. And I think a lot of people are starting to realize what the future may hold. Now, this suit, whether it's going to be frivolous, whether it's going to be completely chucked out, because of course slaughter bots and murder bots aren't a reality right now, but it doesn't mean that they're going to be not happening in the future, as we do know companies are working on a lot of AI technology that is going to be helping these robots do their jobs more efficiently. So then this is another example of OpenAI being sued. You can see digital outlets The Intercept, Raw Story, and Alternet sue OpenAI for unauthorized use of journalism. New industry lawsuits are piling tying up for OpenAI, the company behind AI-fueled chatbot ChatGPT. The digital news outset, yada, yada, yada. It says organizations say thousands of their stories were used by OpenAI to train chatbots to answer questions posed by its users, in effect piggybacking on their journalism without permission, payment, or credit. And of course, they didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. So I think what is going to happen here is OpenAI are going to have to find a way to defend themselves on this kind of stuff or face a mountain of lawsuits. And I think if OpenAI, because I know a lot of people might just think, okay, OpenAI can just pay this company off. If OpenAI pays this company off, there are going to be so many more companies that come forward and try to do the same thing. And then if everyone gets a piece of pie, OpenAI no longer exists. So it will be interesting to genuinely see how this develops, because it's a rather fascinating one, because, you know, they didn't ask for permission, but at the same time, I'm guessing that the way how these companies store the data isn't just the same, because, I mean, some people look at AI as a creature, while some people look at it as a software. I mean, it's a whole nother issue that whichever way these kind of things, you know, end is going to set the precedent. So that's why I really want to see how these kind of cases end, because however they end, it will set the precedent for how future cases are tried and the final results are revealed. Then we had Morph X Stability AI, and this is one of the things I spoke about on Twitter when I said certain industries might actually just collapse overnight if we kind of see the continued proliferation of these AI tools, because essentially what we're now seeing is an AI tool that can completely make a movie trailer just from a text prompt. People have spoke about this becoming a reality, and as someone who is even in the AI space, I really didn't think that this thing was going to come that quickly. And before you watch this trailer, understand that this is going to be supercharged with the likes of Sora. And what's crazy, if you think, okay, OpenAI has the complete technology rights to Sora or whatever, they've got their own, you know, closed source model that nobody else has access to. There was actually a research paper that actually dives into how Sora was likely done. And I think what's going to be interesting is how the other big labs kind of try and implement that technology to see how these videos, like text to video things, evolve. So another thing as well is I'm actually kind of glad that someone's actually making this kind of technology, in a sense of the fact that this is so much easier than just doing other stuff. But anyways, just take a look at this.
Text to video, image to video, video to video. How about idea to video? Introducing Morph Studio, an all-in-one AI-powered film creation tool. With an easy-to-use storyboard format, you can easily create and edit shots together based on text or images, and generate videos in different styles. Morph Studio helps you connect your ideas, test different versions, and export to any post-production software. We believe in a sharing community. Users can upload their workflows to the gallery and allow others to access them for their own projects. Welcome aboard the ship to the future. Join the waiting list today.
So, like I said, I think this is completely fascinating. We have a new AI tool that is going to rapidly change certain industries. I mean, you know, how the video editing industry did work before is, you know, Adobe going to adopt this kind of new workflow where you put a text prompt in and then you get maybe your scene for a short film. I mean, imagine being someone who works at a film studio, and let's say you guys went out for the day, you shot some content, and then, for example, you're missing a couple of scenes. You just use a simple text prompt. It's trained on your already like hours and hours of footage, and then you can simply put a person walking in or whatever. It's completely upscaled to 4K, and that saves you some time. I mean, it's going to be really, really fascinating to see how these industries are evolving. And what's crazy is that it's just February and we've seen such a, you know, an insane level of tools, of developments, of, you know, software upgrades. I mean, it's been absolutely incredible so far. And like I said, you know, before in a tweet, you know, one half of me is completely excited because I think this does empower people who didn't previously have the skills to create the content they wanted to create. That is something that is good. But on the other side, it's also bad because we're seeing that, you know, certain jobs in certain industries are going to be going away. And if they don't go away at all, they're definitely going to be impacted severely by a lot of job cuts. And of course, with the job cuts, that does mean that a lot of people are going to have to either change careers or figure out what to do inside of their current industry. So I do think that this is a very, very tricky issue. And something that I genuinely would like to see is I would like to see that companies, you know, that are maybe making these tools, not just blindly make these tools. Like if you're going to, you know, make a chatbot or whatever, find a way to integrate it into humanness. Because I think what we will see in the future, like I said before, was the fact that, you know, people's livelihoods are at stake. And I think when, you know, a lot of people were laughing at writers saying, ha, 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 I think you have to understand that once, you know, software developers lose their jobs and a lot of other people do lose their jobs, I think then the question is going to reach an inflection point where people start to think, okay, this is now a kind of problem that we probably should have thought out before. And I will actually touch on this in another video, which is going to really give you guys a unique perspective on the rapid rise of AI developments and something that I should have spoken about before. Now, there was also this tool, which is Ideogram 1.0, the most advanced text to image model now available on Ideogram AI. Essentially, this is a really comprehensive tool. Now, this is where I think you can kind of see how every different AI tool is getting their place in the system, because this, what we have, is a really good AI text to image generator that is good at generating text in an image. So this is something that I've tested a little bit, and I would say that it is better than Midjourney, DALL-E 3. It's just the best. Like, surprisingly, they've just knocked it out of the park with this system. And to be honest, I did think that this team was actually behind. Like, I was like, you know, maybe they're a little bit behind. Midjourney's really far ahead, but it is very good at rendering text. Like, Midjourney's good at rendering text, DALL-E 3 is good at rendering text, but this is photoreal with really good text and really good accuracy. Like, I'm not just saying this. You guys definitely want to try this out for yourself, because you can you know, do a lot of stuff with this software, and I think that it is really effective. Like, this is good, but at the same time, like, before I was always like, yeah, this might not replace graphic designers. This definitely does, because you could literally just generate your own posters. I'm actually going to show you a few of the examples on Reddit. So I'm going to go ahead and try this out. So I'm going to put a poster of Knuckles versus Sonic and I don't even think you need to do this. Like, you know how with other AI systems you need to do this, but the reason I'm doing this is because I want to show you guys how crazy this is. So let's go ahead. I'm going to wait 15 seconds. And then we're going to see how great this looks, because, you know, I've been touting it as a really good AI system, and if it looks awful, then I'm going to look bad. So let's go ahead and see how good this looks. And yeah, here we are. I mean, this is pretty crazy. Like, I mean, this, of course, like, it doesn't look that great at, you know, the, I guess you could say, Knuckles versus Sonic. Like, I mean, the renditions of the characters could be a little better, but I mean, you know, for 15 seconds, guys, like this, like, if this is a little better, like in version 2, if like all these characters just get good, I mean, you have to understand, like, imagine you're like 60 years old, you've never used a computer before, you're trying to make a movie poster, or you're trying to make a little poster for your little cafe or something. This is what I'm saying, okay? People are going to be losing clients to this software, because this is only like, I think $6 a month or $15 a month. That's the most expensive tier. And we can see that this kind of thing is pretty incredible. I mean, the text as well, the way how like the text is actually the same font as the Sonic thing as well. That's why I think this is so cool. So yeah, I mean, it's a great tool. It's something that is really effective. And of course, you know, again, if you do want to make like small changes, like for example, if you want this kind of burst to be green, or if you want this to be blue, of course, some changes you are going to have like a designer, you know, on hand. So I guess you could argue that this kind of technology does make it potentially easier for designers to do their job, so they could potentially earn more clients quicker. So yeah, I mean, it's something that you know, a lot of this stuff looks really good. Like, you know, for example, here, this Telegram channel, whatever this is, PUBG trivia, you know, a crypto token or whatever. I mean, this is pretty interesting stuff. And this is like a logo, I'm guessing, like a kind of esports logo. I'm guessing these are the other ones as well. That is pretty crazy, guys. Like, logo design, all this stuff. I mean, you know, you guys are going to be able to use this. You can check out the link in the description. But you know, AI tools are moving fast, and this is definitely better than Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, everything that I've seen before. So this one's kind of shocking, because I didn't think it was going to be this good. But if you want to as well, when you are generating this as well, if you want a poster, just do it this ratio, because this is the aspect ratio for a poster. If you want like a, you know, an Instagram post, that's what an Instagram post is. And then if you want like a YouTube thumbnail, I'm guessing that's what it kind of is. So, and then of course you can change visibility to private, public, and then you've got magic prompt on as well. So I think that is really cool, because, you know, as well, what I do find is that these guys have an actually really good user interface, unlike Discord, which is like through Midjourney. I mean, they're doing well anyways, but I just find that this user interface is so much easier to use than something like Midjourney, where even though I can understand it, it's just tedious to do. So then we had this tweet from an OpenAI researcher, and he actually speaks about Sora being the GPT-2 moment for video generation. And that is a very big deal, because GPT-2 was the system before GPT-3, and we all know where GPT 3.5 5 got us, which is of course GPT-4. So he said GPT-2, which came out in 2018, could generate paragraphs of text that are coherent and grammatically correct. GPT-2 wasn't able to write an entire essay without making mistakes like being inconsistent or hallucinating facts, but it spurred subsequent generations of models, which is what I said. And of course, in less than 5 years since GPT-2, GPT-4 is now able to grok skills like chain of thought or writing long essays without hallucinating. In the same way, Sora today can generate short videos that are artistic and realistic, and it's not able to generate a 40-minute TV show with consistent characters and a compelling storyline. However, I believe that skills like maintaining long-term consistency, having a near-perfect realism, and generating substantive storylines will emerge in the next generations of Sora and other video generation models. A few predictions about how this will play out. Video is not as information dense as text, so it will take way more compute and data to learn skills like reasoning via video, which is of course true because video is, I think, very, very hard to learn reasoning from because it's just visual. It's not like you're actually, reading stuff. You kind of have to interpret what you're seeing. And as a result, leveraging other modalities as correlated information with video will be critical to bootstrapping the learning process. So essentially, of course, annotating videos and stating what exactly is going on is going to be a huge deal. And of course, there will be massive competition for high quality video data, just as there is for high quality text data sets. And if you aren't wondering why he's saying that, it's because I think there was this discussion of, are we running out of data? Because I think, with GPT-4, GPT-3, GPT 3.5, they were trained on pretty much the entirety of the internet. Not the entirety, but like near enough the entirety of the internet. So they were saying that, look, if we basically trained on all of the text that exists, where on earth are we going to get more high quality data sets? And that's where people are thinking of things like synthetic data, which is data that is created by AI to make AI even better. And of course, high quality video data is going to be something that we will have to get from somewhere. And of course, it says AI researchers with experience in video will be high in demand, but they'll have to adapt to new paradigms, just as the traditional NLP researchers have had to adapt to the success of scaling language models. And disruption of the movie industry will play out how similar to GPT-4 has changed writing, a tool that aids and surpasses average quality, but will still be far from the work of professionals. So I think that goes to show that, like I said before, these industries are changing and they are evolving very, very quickly. And I mean, let's say in 3 years, we've got Sora 3.0 and it's able to generate 5 to 10 minute videos that are completely, consistent characters with a voiceover from 11 Labs with a complete storyline. That is possible. And we just saw how movie posters got produced right there. I mean, are we going to see the proliferation of AI generated content? But yeah, I think what will be interesting is to see how compute intensive it will be, to see if the compute problem is solved, because I do think that, right now compute is basically the bottleneck to AI development. And that's why NVIDIA stock is just continuing to explode. So that is something that I do want to see, because the compute overhang is a real issue, but at the same time, it's kind of a good thing because we don't just want to completely explode into the future without, I guess some kind of guardrails and real checks on how this is going to impact society. Now, something crazy that most people did actually miss at OpenAI was that OpenAI did hire a lot of people. So it says big hire for OpenAI. His portfolio is full of things which became standards. OpenAI hired a lot of designers lately. Guess a new product is coming and or an overhaul to ChatGPT to support the extra modalities with GPT-5. So if you're unaware, GPT-5 will likely have some extra modalities. I'm not sure if they're going to release them just because what I saw on the trademarks, maybe they're going to delay it to GPT-6. But I think the reasoning abilities of GPT-5 are going to be absolutely incredible. But essentially, people have been getting hired at OpenAI. You can see that this guy right here says, grateful for the last 8 years on the Apple design team, working with incredibly kind and talented people. Excited to be starting a new role on the design team at OpenAI. That's pretty crazy. And then this guy says, incredibly proud to announce today, I'm starting my first day at OpenAI. Another designer, then they hired someone else and another one. Excited for my new venture where we're joining the amazing design team at OpenAI, and I'm going to be starting in early March. So it's clear that they're going to be working on something big. And if you remember the tweet before that we saw, OpenAI employee literally stated that this product is going to change everything. So it's clear that whatever it is they are working on is going to change everything. I don't know what it's going to be, and I'm guessing that's why maybe they're going to delay futures. Maybe they're talking about this iterative deployment, because if they know it's going to change everything, they need to have society socially adapt to what's coming. And that's literally what they said before, which is why they released Sora when they did. So I find this kind of interesting. Of course, it's pretty vague, but if they're hiring designers, I think whatever there is they are building is going to be a lot better than ChatGPT, because they also said that ChatGPT the final form for ChatGPT is not chat. So it'll be interesting to see how that works too. Now, we actually did have something crazy about Apple because OpenAI has been hiring a couple of Apple employees, but essentially Tim Cook says that Apple will break new ground in generative AI this year. So essentially Apple, the CEO Tim Cook, made a promising statement that Apple will break new ground on generative AI this year, and he made the announcement during the company's annual shareholders meeting today, which came in the same week that they scuttled its multi-billion-dollar decade plan to build an electric vehicle. So essentially what they've done is they've decided not to build an electric vehicle. They had a 10-year plan to build a really, really cool electric car, and they just scrapped it. They just kind of said they scrapped it. And some of you guys might be thinking, oh, Apple, they're not that smart. But Apple has billions and billions of dollars. Rumor has it that I think to recent reports, they're sitting on around $230 billion of just cash, like literally just cash or cash equivalents, which is insane for any company because so many companies operate on thin margins and they operate with a lot of debt. So for them to have 200 billion just laying around, they could do a lot of stuff with AI. Like they are a truly insanely profitable company. So the fact that they can just scrap that, waste tens of billions of dollars on an EV, what are they going to do with AI? I have no idea, but I think this is one of the riskiest things for Apple to do because Apple has prided themselves over the years on their ability to, I guess you could say, focus more on the quality aspect and focus on the polishedness, if that's even a word, of how their products are. And generative AI, it's not polished just yet. Like things still hallucinate. There's still kind of some errors. And we've seen that there are many brand, issues as well with the kind of stuff. So I think what Apple is doing is Apple is like, look, you know what we're going to do? We're going to wait it out a bit. We're going to see the first kind of products that people make. We're going to see the first kind of systems. And then maybe 2 years from now we'll release a product because they just released the Apple Vision Pro and Oculus released their Vision goggles or whatever way before them. And of course the Apple Vision Pro, I'm sure they made more money and I'm sure they're doing a lot more in sales. So I think Apple have to be very careful though, because generative AI is something where if a company does manage to get a really good head start, it is going to be near impossible to catch up in the future. So Apple can't play the long game forever. And that's why I'm excited to see what they're going to be doing this year because taking long in certain industries is fine if you have insane quality, but AI is something that, look at where OpenAI is. They're so far ahead of the competition. And if you've seen that Google are struggling to try and catch up, it means that, you really can't wait around for everything. There was also a really important paper, and I'm not going to get into the technicals of this, but essentially it just means that LLMs are going to be a lot more efficient in the future. And this is something I'm going to leave a link to in the description because this is a really important paper. And the reason I'm highlighting this is because across the board, there is research showing that LLMs have not plateaued at all, or whilst people might think that, it is something that you should completely understand. Now, this is crazy, okay? I wanted to show you, now this is completely crazy. I wanted to show you guys this because I've never seen this before. I knew it was coming, but I never seen it before. And it's crazy. Someone said AI ads are here and I already hate it. I was reading an article about DeepMind's Genie, then this ad was embedded. I knew it would only be a matter of time before they customized each ad. Expect more of this in the future. So essentially, you can see right here that it says, just as DeepMind's Genie transforms simple prompts into complex games, introducing dynamic growth in virtual worlds, a high-yield saving account can transform your initial deposit into a larger sum over time. That is an incredible thing because it's like you're going to be reading this thinking that you're going to be reading something about, the article you're referring to, which is DeepMind's Genie. It's basically Google's insane text to virtual worlds, which is in early development. And this ad is generative. That's a crazy thing because it now means that ads are going to be personalized on a completely different level, which means that people are going to be more likely to click them. What do you guys think about this? Do you guys think this is invasive? Do you think it's great? Do you think it's awful? I don't know. I think it's kind of interesting, but yeah, just wanted to share it with you all because I think it's an interesting update on how things are changing on the subtle level that you might not notice. Then we had this one. This is crazy. Like this was insane. Okay. And I can't play some of the music here because it's going to be copyrighted, and then I'm not going to be able to show you guys a video because I'm probably going to strike it down. But essentially, okay, what they did was they took essentially they took an image and essentially they have it as a puppet. I mean, they can bring people back to life. The applications, I can't even speak properly because when I saw this, I was like, my jaw was on the ground because I was like, whoa, this is pretty crazy. Like this looks like a real person, but you can see you take an image and then you just turn it into a video. So it's like image to video, but not image to video. It's image to like puppet. So it's like, it's just insane. Okay. So I think this one as well is actually Mira Murati talking, and you can see right here that the reference images and then of course the generated video. I mean, that's pretty crazy. Like this is I mean, I'm not surprised by this, but the fact that it looks so real is just crazy because every time I see this kind of thing happening, like this isn't an actual video. I mean, it is a video, but the previous thing wasn't a video and they used that to make that video. It's like, what the, like, I'm just speechless because it's like I knew this was coming, but at the same time, part of me thought that this wasn't going to be that good. Like I always thought that, you know, text to video was going to be here, but I never thought it would be as realistic as that. So it's pretty crazy. I wish I could show you guys the singing stuff, but the singing is absolutely insane. Like the way how the mouth just tracks everything is just crazy. You can see that this one here is I mean, it just looks so realistic. Like it looks like the person is actually alive. So I mean, what do you guys think the applications of this? One of the first things I actually did think about was the fact that you could take a picture of an old relative and then maybe you could, you know, bring them back to life. I know some people find that really dystopian and really weird, but I do think that in the future, you know, that's going to be something that does happen a lot. And it will be interesting to see how this kind of all plays out because it's really crazy. And we had Joaquin Phoenix doing something as the Joker. I mean, honestly guys, you need to definitely take a look at this because I think this is one of the most shocking things this week, and no pun intended, but seriously, this one it's just weird because I mean, if you look at like the cheekbones, if you look at the neck as well, the way the neck moves, and I think this, you might see this and you might not think is that impressive, but if you didn't see the previous versions of this, like compared to how good this is, then I don't think you're going to appreciate how crazy this is. So it's just something that and robots are continuing to move forward because you can see right here, this is a fully autonomous robot with a 75% accuracy rate. It has 7.5 hours of continuous operation and the speed versus human is 75%. So it's definitely pretty insane at how quickly we are moving on these robotics. This is agility, this is real time, and the speed versus a human is 75%. Now remember, these robots are getting faster, and I will have another video on why the robotics industry is about to change, how things are moving, and honestly something crazy happened that I'm about to show you guys in a moment where you're going to be like, whoa, what on earth just happened? Because it's actually pretty crazy. So I think this kind of thing here is absolutely, like, I mean, it's kind of shocking, but at the same time, it's like I kind of knew this was happening, but seeing robots real time in the places of where humans used to be is something that is quite astounding because saying something is crazy, and then, you know, visualizing it is whoa. It's like, whoa. It's like, you know, saying text to video is going to be here, and then seeing Sora is like, whoa. Like saying that, you know, text to image is going to be here with movie posters and all this kind of stuff, and then seeing it is like, whoa, it's actually real. It's like, what is the fact that Amazon is going to be spending $1 billion on startups that combine AI with robotics? So it says we're long away from replacing all humans, but they're going to be spending $1 billion. Their AI innovation fund is going to be spending $1 billion on that. Something I did forget to add was the fact that the SEC is going to probe whether OpenAI investors were misled. Okay, the US Securities and Exchange Commission is scrutinizing internal communications by OpenAI CEO Sam Altman as a part of an investigation into whether the company's investors were misled. The regulator has been seeking internal records from the current and former officials and director of the ChatGPT creator and sent a subpoena to the company in December, the report said. So it says this move followed OpenAI's board decision to fire Sam Altman in November and oust him from the board. And the board of the non-profit startup said at the time that it concluded that he was not consistently candid in his communications with the board, hindering its ability to exercise its responsibility. And this is rather fascinating because we do know that Sam Altman was, of course, fired by OpenAI, and of course, we don't really know what happened. So I'm guessing they're trying to figure out what on earth happened. That this is something pretty crazy. So essentially, the investigation, of course, following the tumultuous period for OpenAI over the debates about the leadership, of course, his fundraising activities for an external venture, and of course, the internal tensions, including a dispute with a former board member. In situations like this, the outcome of the SEC's investigation could actually range widely depending on what the probe uncovers. If the SEC finds that laws were actually broken, such as misleading investors, there could actually be several consequences, including fines, mandatory changes to OpenAI's governance practice, or even legal actions against, you know, certain individuals involved. However, it also is possible that the investigation concludes without finding any wrongdoing. So regarding the possibility of Sam Altman being fired again, it largely does depend on the findings of the SEC investigation and OpenAI's internal review conducted by lawyers from WilmerHale. And if these investigations uncover significant issues with Altman's actions or communications that were not previously disclosed or addressed, it could lead to further action by OpenAI's board. However, given that like Sam Altman has already been reinstated under specific conditions, including, you know, an internal investigation, his continued leadership will likely depend on the outcomes of these inquiries and any additional measures he and the board have agreed on to address these identified concerns. So it's important to know that these kind of investigations are actually really complex and can take considerable time to conclude. And of course, the details in this article don't really provide any specific or guarantee any specific outcome, but rather illustrate the period of scrutiny and potential change once again within OpenAI. So the company's response is rather fascinating, and hopefully you guys found this valuable. And to conclude this video, I want to show you guys all of this from Sanctuary AI, and what you're witnessing is an actual autonomous robot doing this in real time. This robot is doing autonomous work in real time that is super, super quick. So this is pretty insane. I think we are at that point where robots, I'm not going to say they're going to take over, but this is a robot. This is scaring me. Like, this is something that I never thought I'd see, even though I knew it was going to come. Like I said, seeing it is giving me like a mini existential crisis. But knowing that this is a robot that's moving that fast, that fluid, fully autonomously, is quite surprising considering the rate of the other robots. So that is something that I will talk about more in another video. But overall, what do you think about Apple shocking the entire industry, stating that they're going to break new ground? Maybe they're going to come out with a new innovative product. They've certainly had time. And if you haven't realized as well, what I want to leave you guys with is that Apple has been buying AI companies. Like, they have like a ton of AI innovative startups that they could really use and deploy some really cool products with. So Apple could literally come up with the best product ever, but it's going to be up to them to actually get that done.